of rain. The house, the only one in the whole valley, sat on the crest of a low hill. From this height, one could see the river and the field of ripe corn dotted with flowers that always promised a good harvest. The only thing the earth needed was a downpour or at least a shower. Throughout the morning, Lenshaw had done nothing else but look at the sky towards the northeast. "Now we are really going to get some rain, woman," he said. The woman, who was preparing supper, replied, "Yes, God willing." During the meal, big drops of rain began to fall. Huge mountains of clouds could be seen approaching. The air was fresh and sweet. Lenshaw went out to have the pleasure of feeling the rain on his body. These aren't raindrops falling from the sky. They are like new coins. The big drops are tens and the little ones are fives. A night of sorrow. He looked at the field of ripe corn with its flowers draped in a curtain of rain. But suddenly a strong wind began to blow. Very large hailstones began to fall. "It's really getting bad now," exclaimed Lenshaw. "I hope it passes quickly." It didn't pass quickly. It hailed for an hour on the house, the garden, the hillside, the cornfield, and the whole valley. The field was white, as if covered with salt. Not a leaf remained on the trees. The corn was totally destroyed. The flowers had disappeared from the plants. Lenshaw's soul was filled with sadness. That night was a sorrowful one. "This year we will have no corn. There is no one to help us. We will all go hungry this year." But in the hearts of all who lived in that solitary house, there was a single hope: help from God. All through the night, Lenshaw thought only of his one hope, God. At the post office, Lenshaw was an ox of a man, working like an animal in the fields. Still he knew how to write. The following Sunday, at daybreak, he began to write a letter. It was nothing less than a letter to God. "Dear God, if you don't help me, my family and I will go hungry this year. I need 100 pesos in order to sow my field again and to live until the crop comes. Because of the hailstorm you sent, everything is lost. Hopefully waiting, Lenshaw." He wrote to God on the envelope and went to the town. At the post office, he pasted a stamp on the letter and dropped it into the mailbox. The postman went to his boss laughing heartily. He showed him the letter to God. The postmaster also broke into a laugh. But immediately he turned serious. "What faith! I wish I had the faith of the man who wrote this letter. Imagine starting up a correspondence with God." The postmaster came up with an idea. Send a reply to Lenshaw from God. But he needed something more than goodwill, ink and paper to answer the letter. He took a collection from the employees of the post office. He himself gave a part of his salary. But it was impossible for him to put together 100 pesos. He was able to send the farmer only 70 pesos. He put the money in an envelope addressed to Lenshu. He sent a letter along with it. It contained only a signature of God. God replies. The following day, Lenshu went to the post office earlier than usual. He asked the postman if there was a letter for him. The postman handed a letter to him. The postmaster looked on from the doorway of his office. Lenshu showed not the slightest surprise on seeing the money. Such was his confidence that he became angry when he counted the money. God couldn't have made a mistake. Immediately, Lenshu went up to the window to ask for paper and ink. He sat at the public writing table. He started to write. When he finished, he went to the window to buy a stamp. He licked the stamp and then affixed it on the envelope with a thumb of his fist. The moment the letter fell into the mailbox, the postmaster went to open it. Merciful God, of the money that I asked for, only 70 pesos reached me. Send me the rest, since I need it very badly. But don't send it to me through the mail, because the post office employees are a bunch of crooks. Lenshu. Gregorio Lopez Fuentes. Birthday letter. Central Prison, Naini, October 26, 1930. My dear Indira, on your birthday, you have been in the habit of receiving presents and good wishes. Good wishes you will still have in full measure, but what present can I send you from Naini Prison? My presents cannot be very material or solid. They can be of the mind and the spirit. Things that even the high walls of a prison cannot stop. You know, sweetheart, how I dislike sermonizing and doling out good advice. I have always thought that the best way to find out what is right and what should be done is not by giving a sermon. It has to be done by talking and discussing. Out of discussion, sometimes a little bit of truth comes out. I have liked my talks with you and we have discussed many things. But the world is wide and beyond our world lie other wonderful and mysterious worlds. None of us need ever be bored or imagine that we have learned everything worth learning and become very wise. But what am I to do then? A letter can hardly take the place of a talk. At best, it is a one-sided affair. Imagine that I have made a suggestion to you for you to think over as if we really were having a talk. In history, we read of great periods in the life of nations, of great men and women. Do you remember how fascinated you were when you first read the story of Joan d'Arc? Your ambition was to be something like her. Ordinary men and women are not usually heroic. They think of their bread and butter, of their children, of their household worries and the like. But a time comes when a whole people become interested in a great cause. Then history helps even simple, ordinary men and women to become heroes. Great leaders have something in them which inspires a whole people and makes them do great deeds. In India, a great leader full of love for all who suffer and eager to help them has inspired our people to great actions and noble sacrifice. He has helped to make the starving, the poor and the oppressed free and happy. Bapuji is in prison, but the magic of his message has stolen the hearts of India's millions. Men and women and even little children come out of their little shells and become India's soldiers of freedom. In India today, we are making history, and you and I are fortunate to see this happening before our eyes and to take some part ourselves in this great drama. What part shall we play in it? If we are to be India's soldiers, we have to respect India's honor, and that honor is a sacred trust. It is no easy matter to decide what is right and what is not. One little test I shall ask you to apply whenever you are in doubt. Never do anything in secret or anything that you would wish to hide. For the desire to hide anything means that you are afraid, and fear is a bad thing and unworthy of you. Be brave, and all the rest follows. You know that in our great freedom movement, under Bapuji's leadership, there is no room for secrecy or hiding. We have nothing to hide. We are not afraid of what we do or what we say. We work in the sun and in the light. Even so, in our private lives, let us make friends with the sun and work in the light and do nothing secretly. And if you do so, my dear, you will grow up a child of the light, unafraid and serene and unruffled whatever may happen. I have written a very long letter to you, and yet there is so much I would like to tell you. How can a letter contain it? Goodbye, little one, and may you grow up into a brave soldier in India's service. With all my love and good wishes, your loving father, Jawaharlal Nehru. Poem I Wrote Myself a Letter. I wrote myself a letter. I mailed it right away. And sure enough, the carrier delivered it today. I couldn't wait to get it. I nearly had to shout. I quickly tore the envelope and pulled the letter out. I anxiously unfolded it, but now I must concede I am clueless as to what it says. I haven't learned to read. White sheep on a blue hill. When the wind stops, you all stand still. When the wind blows, you walk away slow. White sheep, where do you go? Christina Rossetti.